Hello and welcome to Virtucon Team 6 Griffith site video. My name's Ryan and I'm doing basically Hyper-V failover and external Wi-Fi. Those are my two major parameters. I have to also get a VPN set up and I will go demonstrate that for you now. This is basically my network topology and diagram. As you can see, this is my local network. These two servers are Hyper-V servers and they have replication. This is internal. They both sit on physical boxes. Griffith internal is not currently set up yet. It's because I've had a change task raised and that has been approved. The reason is because I chose to set up the external because it would be it's much harder than internally because I can just connect it straight to the switch. Local networks 10.0.4.0/24 on a 255.255.255 subnet. GRIR router 01, that is a MikroTik router that's been set up for IPsec VPN. Public IP at the time was 1.40.98.66. This modem here is in bridge mode, so it only does modulation and demodulation of the signal. So I've hooked up the external modem to this here, and then that goes out on a DMZ port. IPsec tunnel comes from the MikroTik router, which has been set up to check Wagga's MikroTik router, and Wagga's server 01 replicates and fails over to GRI HV01, which is the physical box for AD01. As you can see here, Hyper-V replication between the two. I've got two servers on my site just because I chose to. I've got these are both DNS, DHCP servers. They also got group policy on them. And yeah, so we'll continue with the presentation. Okay, so alright, so I'm just going to run some tests quickly just to prove that I've got VPN connection. I'm going to ping the Wagga network, which is 10.0.5.10. As you can see, I can ping that. IP config, if we do one of those, gives me 10.0.482, which is the IP address of this, which is well in my scope. Default gateway is 10.0.4.1. IP config-all, so we can see the DNS servers. Here we go. DHCP servers 10.0.4.3. DNS is 4.3 and 4.4, and we can see that it's connected to the griffith.globex.local domain. Okay, so now we can get into the server environment. We can have a look. So this first one here, this is my basic, this is GRI HV02. GRI HV02 is just basically a failover server and a backup server as well. So I've got two servers on here. As you can see, I'm logging into the Hyper-V environment now. This is my Hyper-V, this is my AD02 server. As you can see, administrative tools. I've got my Active Directory. I've got my DFS management, which I'm using as a file system, DHCP, DNS, group policy, and this is only for the second server that I built in my environment. So let's go ahead and check. Okay, this is just my Active Directory. So if we go into this, we can see what's in here. So this is my OUs. So accounts group, what's in there? I've got a group and the users in there as well. So all of these are the Active Directory users and groups that has been accounted for. Virtucon Team 6, obviously Ryan Smith, and the Virtucon group, which has managers in there as well. Just one quick thing as well. Let's go into DFS. Okay, now DFS management allows me to make a namespace inside two servers. So basically, if I do this, so these here, the group drives and user drives that have been created for the users and their departments on the Globex network. Now, basically, it takes two file shares, one from each domain controller, and it links them. So if one fails over, the other one picks up. So what I've done is I've mapped that in my group policy, as I'll show you now. Domain, Griffith, okay, Griffith site, accounts group. Let's take, for example, edit this. Preferences, Windows settings, drive maps. Alright, so as we can see, Griffith is the file shared, and file system, group drives and accounts. So that will map to the users that are in there, and also we've got Griffith data replication. So what I've done as well is from one system to another, because in DFS management, one server will be the primary and one will be standby. So if the primary server, which is GRI AD01, goes down, GRI AD02 will have a backup of all its information, which is good. That's what we want. Okay. Now we'll look at DHCP. So IPv4. So these are all in failover as well. So address pool. This is my address pool at the moment. This is just for the secondary one. If we go on to the main one, which I'll show you. One second. 10.4.5. Go on to the main one. It has a different scope. Right, so 10.0.4.2 to 15 is basically all the static IPs that are on the network, and I've also got a list of reservations here as well. So the router, AD0102, HV0102, which are the Hyper-V servers as well. So GRI AD01 is basically my primary server, and then what I've got is I've got here, if I right click on within 06, so if I go to this one, minimize that, right click on this, I go view replication health. Now this is locally, so these are all authenticate by AD. As we can see, the replication health is normal. So these communicate on port 80. So if I was to do a failover, one picks up and then it's all good. It happens. So that's all in my test documentation. I'm just giving you an example now. And then this here is the Wagga server from the Wagga site replication. So he's actually DR'd to me and we've tested this, and this is in our testing documentation as well. So if we go view replication health, it's going to come up with a fail. And the reason is because the last synchronizers at last 29th. This is because it's just been chewing up too much bandwidth over the net at the moment. So we decided to pause it. As you can see, replication health is critical, and it comes from the current primary server WAG. That's his Hyper-V server 01. Last successful replication for virtual machine has been delayed. So it's been delayed on his side. I'm more than happy to take the replication, but the guy at Wagga, he's decided because there's too much bandwidth, and our test completed and it worked successfully. So obviously we can't test now because I need him to complete something on his side and we can't test at the same time. So hope you understand that. That's in our testing documentation, so that's all good. Okay, so the next part, this is the backup program that I've used. The only backups I have at the moment is GRI AD01, and basically this is the schedule that I do. So if you go to schedules, as you can see, it's got full backups. Starts at Saturday, ends on a Sunday, and then it finishes, and then throughout the week you got Monday to Friday, 8 hours in the morning. I work with this program day in, day out, so it was very good to use in this environment. So now we'll go through DNS just to show you my forward lookup zones. As you can see here, got a couple of forward lookup zones for DHCP and DNS as well. So reverse lookup zones there. So as you can see in here, I've got some conditional forwarders too. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, here, sorry about that. So these are the forwarders that I've got. This is the Optus, because I'm with Optus ISP. So DNS at OptusNet 1 and 2 and Google 1 and 2. I've got GRI AD02 just in case anything happens, so it just goes to that server first, and these are all fine. So now we got a test, and I've got to show you. So group policy again. As you can see, Griffith site's got different OUs and that kind of thing. So all of these just for group drives. DHCP has been shown. Active Directory. Firewall is enabled. I've also got Malwarebytes as an antivirus on this. So if we go to CMD, control panel. Windows Firewall is enabled. Also the protection of Malwarebytes. I'm only using this temporarily. If we were in a real workspace, Obviously, I'd get something industrial. I'd get a Trend Micro. It's very easy to manage on the network. It's very good as well. And then what we'll do now, so we've done that, is we'll just change networks, and I'll show you the external, and then it can't ping anything. So Griffith external, as we can see here. CMD is ping GRIAD01. Obviously that doesn't work. And then we go ping 10.0.4.3. And obviously that doesn't work. So if I do ping, if I do IP config, I'll get a 10.6 address. Yeah, 10.0.6.4. If I do ping 8.8.8.8 -T, we can see that I can get an internet connection. Okay. The last thing I want to show you is the MikroTik router. Probably still waiting for an address. Okay, this is MikroTik. Okay, so basically that's my current external IP address. IPsec proposal. So this is basically how I'm going to authenticate and what encryption is going to be on there. So this is on all the VPN. So if we just get out of these, so this is IPsec configuration. This is the general source address and destination address. These both on the network, and that is the public IP and the Wagga public IP. Action, we want to encrypt it, and obviously we can see it's established. So peers, that is the Wagga side, who's a peer of mine. This is the proposals I was just talking about, keys and users. So that's fine. Obviously this is some command line throughout the document that I will present. There are some port screenshots in there, which determine that the only thing that's running is port 80. I don't remember the command off my head now. It's a very good program, this, and you can do a lot with it. If the client wants us to lock it down even more, we can go through the firewall, and obviously, like I've disabled Telnet port 23 on there just as a demonstration, but it's very locked down at the start when you get them. They're built that way, and they're very good like that. So that's it for me. All the work and testing will be done and is going to be sent via this document. Okay, thank you very much.